Well, welcome everyone to the Monday Mindset. I am Tracy Rader, the Director of Implementation here at Giant, and we are so glad that you've joined us. I know we have some on the Giant platform and some on LinkedIn, some of you on Facebook. So just thanks. Thanks for being part of our Monday. I'm here with Kevin DeShazo as usual. Kevin, if you do not know this, Kevin runs the sports division of Giant. It's called Culture Wins. And so he spends much of his time out and about at different universities with different coaches and athletic directors, just helping them build leaders worth following. So Kevin, welcome.
Good morning, Tracy. Happy Monday.
Happy Monday to you. You were actually out and about. You finally are out flying around the U.S. again. So what were you doing this past week?
I broke free. I broke out. Good morning, Jasmine from South Dakota. I went to Florida last week. My first flight since December 2019, not December 2020, December 2019.
Wow.
Because even a lot of my work last year before COVID, before the shutdown, were places that I could easily drive to. And so I didn't get on a plane first quarter last year. And so got on my first flight down to Tallahassee, spent some time with Florida State, with the Seminoles, and new partners of ours, kind of kicking off that partnership. So it was an amazing time with them and their crew, talking about leadership, talking about culture, talking about mindset. And so it was good to get back out on the road.
Good for you. I bet they loved it. I know you loved it. That's really cool. Well, I got to do a little of your area of the world hobnobbing, I guess is the word. I don't know what I'm calling that. I had the Oklahoma City University women's wrestling team at my house on Saturday night. They had their end of the year awards ceremony, banquet, whatever they called it. And it was so much fun. Those women are amazing athletes, great attitudes. So that was really fun.
I love it. And just making time for celebration. Like we get so busy with the pursuit of our goals, with our work. It's like, take time to celebrate, take time to acknowledge, even if you didn't have the season you wanted or the year you wanted, right? Still take time to celebrate whatever wins you had along the way. You know, it's funny, my flight, I was texting someone along the way when I was headed down to Florida, and my flight out of Oklahoma City was delayed for a couple hours. My flight from Dallas to Tallahassee was delayed. And they're like, is this the part of travel that you missed? I was like, oh, right. Because I told myself, like, I just can't wait to get back out on the road. And it's like, oh, it's just sitting in airports. But it's like, that's what I want to be doing. You know, just to have that mindset of like, I'm not going to complain about it. It's like, it's part of it. But it was fun to get back out there. And I love that you got to celebrate with that crew. And I think the lesson there for leaders, like, again, make time to celebrate.
Yeah.
It's like we get so busy, slow down and celebrate.
Yeah. Well, and the coach there, her name's Nicole Tyson. She's awesome, but she just did such a good job of, just specifically saying what they've done well at, and, giving them some memorabilia things, especially the seniors, to take with them, the jerseys and things like that, and had them, in the frames. And it was just really cool, really cool.
And those are the things they're going to remember, right? They'll remember the competition, of course, but the stories they'll mostly tell are those, right? And the way that you have an impact on those people is yes, you're coaching them up and developing them, but caring about them, investing in them, celebrating them. Like those are the things that make them want to come alive and actually do their best.
Sure. Yeah. So what is it about traveling that you love? Like you were like, oh yeah, I forgot how much I love that.
Just being with people, right? Like, one, I love seeing new places. Right? I love Oklahoma City. It's an amazing place. Truthfully, Oklahoma City, it's unbelievable. If you've not visited, I'm not paid by the Oklahoma City, Convention and Visitors Bureau tourism group, but I should be, because this place, come visit us. It is not whatever you think Oklahoma City is, it's not. It's better. It's on the rise. So I love it here, but I love getting out and about, seeing our country, love going to college towns, love being on site with teams. Zoom's been fine. It's served its purpose this year, but there is nothing better than being on site with a team. And I love being on college campuses. So it's just, I don't love early morning flights. I don't love sitting in airports for 8 or 9 hours a day, but I love what that results in. Like I love where it's taking me, which is kind of a metaphor for life. Like you don't always love the process, but you love the outcome of the process. Absolutely.
Yeah. Well, here, Margaret's joining us on the Giant platform. She's asking, did you meet Coach Sue Samura? Is that how you say it?
I did not, but probably next time.
Oh, good. Okay. All right, Sue, watch out. Kevin's coming for you. No. It's another Monday, and I always look forward to it. I know we've had some interviews in the past, which have been great. So if you all are watching and you've not been able to catch some of the interviews that Kevin has done here on the Monday Mindset, go to the Giant platform. If you don't yet have a free account yet, just go here to giant.tv/culturewins and get a free account. Really, it really is free. We don't catch you on that or anything. It's free. Lots of great content. But what we do sometimes is take our live streams and we make series out of them. And so we've done that. And it is called, I always forget what it's called, Becoming a Healthy
Building a healthy mindset.
Healthy mindset. That's right. And on there, you can see all the past episodes, but also look for the ones that are interviews. Are really, really good with different folks all around the world that we've been able to interview here. So,
and guys, for what, if you haven't signed up, truthfully, like, I don't know how much you pay for Netflix, because they always raise their prices. I'm going to say $10 a month. Could be 8, could be 12, could be 15, but let's just call it $10 a month. And I love Netflix. I get some value out of it. But like, what would you pay to invest in yourself? Like, to have a coach to speak truth to you, to develop your mindset, to develop your self-awareness, to develop your communication skills, to have content that is uniquely tailored to your personality, to tell you how you can better deal with stress, to tell you how you can better communicate with people, how you can learn to manage difficult conversations. Like that is what the platform is, and it's free. And if you make time to work through some of the content, to invest in yourself, take the 5 Voices assessment. It's free. It gives you a personal coaching channel based on your personality. It's insane. It will transform the way you think. It'll transform the way you communicate. It'll transform the way you live. And that's how you transform your life, right? Your family, your team. Like we always want everyone else to get better. Start with you. So we've usually people say, I'm too busy and it's too expensive. Well, we've taken away the cost. So you can't make that excuse. And then you just got to say, if you care about getting better, you'll make the time to get better. And so the platform is just that there's probably 500-600 videos. I'm not sure at this point. And we're adding stuff every week. But a ton of content to make you a better leader.
Yeah, that's right. And people will say, well, what kind of industries is that for? It's for every industry. I mean, obviously Kevin uses it in the sports world, but we've got tech teams on there. We have medical facilities that use it. I mean, just you name it.
Education, military, churches, dentist office, marketing, advertising, PR. I mean, genuinely every kind of industry you can think of. We've got over 100,000 people on the platform getting better. Yeah, it's great. Okay, well, let's dive in today. What's our subject? I know we're not interviewing anyone today. We have somebody coming up here in the next few weeks, but what are we going to talk about today? Yeah, so the thought I've had on my brain the last week or so, the last few days, is this thought of small wins. Right. So think about you're pursuing this thing, right? Maybe it's you want to become a great leader. Maybe you want to build a championship culture. Maybe you're trying to write a book. Maybe you're wanting to start a business. Maybe you're trying to get healthy or lose some weight or run a marathon. Whatever that thing is, like, it can seem really overwhelming. And I think one of the key things in this journey of trying to get better, of trying to pursue a vision or accomplish your goals, is you need confidence and you need momentum. And if your wins are every now and then, you get neither of those, right? Like let's say you write a whole chapter today in a book. You're like, that feels like a big win. And then tomorrow you write 0. And maybe Wednesday you write 0. And then maybe Thursday you write maybe half a chapter, maybe a few paragraphs. Well, you're just constantly going up and down, and you can't really build confidence or momentum. Because the day that you write a lot, you're feeling good. Like, I've got this. I can do this. I know I can write this book. I'm feeling good. See, I did a chapter. I'm going to do it again tomorrow. But then tomorrow you got busy and you did 0. And then you beat yourself up. Oh, man, I thought I had this. Like, maybe I'm not as good as I thought. And maybe I shouldn't even do this. Why am I even trying, right? All that negativity, the insecurity, the fear kind of comes into your mind, and it can take you out for a few days. And then you muster up enough courage to go for it again, and you have a good day. And it's like, it's just a good day in between a lot of average days. And you can't build confidence or momentum when that's how you're operating. But goals take time, right? You're not going to climb that mountain today. You're not going to climb it tomorrow. You're not going to climb it by this end of this week. But you can take some steps up the mountain, right? You're not going to run a marathon today. If you've just started, that's a great goal, but it's a big goal. What if you can run 3 blocks today? Maybe it's a half mile. Well, can you do that again tomorrow, right? Can you get a few blocks in tomorrow? Can you get a few wins every day? If you're writing that book, Maybe you don't need to get a whole chapter in today. Maybe you just get a paragraph today. That's progress, right? Small wins are still wins. Baby steps are still steps. And then maybe tomorrow you can write another paragraph, and the next day another paragraph. Maybe one day you write a whole chapter, but you show up the next day and you do a paragraph. And before you know it, that's how you've written a book, right? You write a book by writing a bunch of paragraphs. You write a paragraph by writing a bunch of words, and they slowly come together and you have a book. But it's these small wins that do two things. They build that confidence and they build that momentum. But if you just commit to doing, again, let's focus on writing a book, for example. If you just commit to writing a little bit today, doesn't matter how much you write, right? The insecurity in your brain is going to say, you've got to write a whole chapter or nothing at all. That's not true. You can write a paragraph, and that's good enough because that's progress. And then sit down and write another one tomorrow. If you're trying to run a little bit today. You don't need to try to kill yourself by running a marathon today. Run a half mile. If you're trying to lose weight, you're not going to lose 40 pounds today. You can just go to the gym today. That's progress. That's a small win. And you can build on that and do the same thing tomorrow. Because our goal is to pursue small wins that build confidence and build momentum. So at the end of each day, you're like, no, I can do this. See, I wrote that paragraph. See, I had that difficult conversation. So I took that course on self-awareness, or I started that course on self-awareness and leadership and communication. I'm not the leader I'm going to become, but I'm on my way. And I got a win today, which means I can get another win tomorrow. And small wins stack up, right? Consistency compounds. And so the more you do these little things, the more you unlock your big goals and your big visions. Right? It's about developing consistent habits and being patient with the results. And so I think to think through, like, what is it that you're pursuing right now? What is it that you're chasing? What is it that you're trying to accomplish? What is it that you're trying to achieve? Don't take on the burden of doing that whole thing today. Right? If you're watching this call, you're probably a leader and you're trying to become a better leader and you're trying to create a better culture for your team and those around you. And you want it so bad. I get it. Right? I meet with leaders all the time. Like they so badly want great culture. And it's not even that they have a toxic culture. It's just not where it should be. They've not been intentional to create a culture that is allowing their people to show up and bring their best each day over the long run. And they want, because they have a conversation about culture, they want it to be fixed tomorrow. It's like, man, that's not going to happen. You know, most research says to create a healthy culture can take up to 3 years. Now there's context, right? Every situation is a little bit different. But to realize, like, okay, I've got 3 years to get this goal. Well, what does that demand of me today? What does progress look like today? Not to finish it, not to accomplish it, but to make progress. And to keep believing in that vision so that you keep showing up to get those small wins. Because if you don't have the small wins, you lose your confidence. And if you lose your confidence, you lose your momentum. And that inconsistency creates frustration, whether that's an internal goal or a goal with your team. Right? If it's we're up here today and down here tomorrow and then back up here the next day, like, people don't know what to do with that. And ultimately it breaks down. Those are goals that never get achieved. Right? Those are visions that never come to life because we lose momentum, because we've lost confidence. And when we lose those two things, we give up. And so to take time, right, to give yourself permission to just get little wins each day, right? Progress is a process. Right? We don't achieve goals just because we want to achieve them. There's no shortcut. Right? And I talked a little bit about this in the book. Like, we live in a drive-through culture. Because I can go on the way to the office, I can go get money, I can get clothes, I can get food, I can get medicine, I can get groceries. I bought a car from my phone while sitting on my couch. Because there's all these shortcuts in life, we think there's a shortcut to achieving our goals. And there's not. The work is the shortcut. And so to take all the fear and the overwhelmingness out of it and say, what does a win look like today? And so just to think, like, practically today, like, what's your goal? What's your vision? What are you trying to accomplish? Okay, well, what does that demand of you today? How can you make progress on that today in a way that builds confidence and momentum so that you can do the same thing tomorrow? All right, we've got a great tool that we've probably talked about on the platform or on the Monday Mindset before. It's called the change equation. And part of it is saying, I'm gonna kind of ignore the dissatisfaction piece for the moment. I just want to talk about the vision, right? You have a vision for where you're going, right? And that can seem overwhelming, right? Again, you want to write a book, you want to lose 40 pounds, you want to be a great leader, you want to start a business, you want to start a side business. Whatever it is, you have a vision for something. and you're fired up about it. You think it's a game changer. It's going to help you. It's going to help maybe your family, maybe your team, maybe your community, maybe the world. But you're so excited about it. You believe in it so much that you just start out of the gate 100 miles an hour, ready to go. And then mile one, that enthusiasm starts to wane because you're losing confidence. You're losing momentum, right? It's like if you're running a long relay race or a long race in a track and field event, and it's a long distance event and you start out too fast, you lose your momentum. Same way with goals, right? It's easy to start out with so much momentum because you're just fired up. You're so excited. You're so passionate about it. It's new. It's fresh in your mind. You believe in it. You want to get there, and you just come out too hard and you lose momentum. But to sit back and say, I know I want to get there. I know what this goal is. I can see the top of the mountain. It's way up there. It may take me a long time to get there. I'm not going to get overwhelmed with that. I'm not going to let that hold me back. I'm not going to let that hold me down. I'm not going to cause that to make me give up. I'm going to see the top of the mountain and say, I don't need to get there today. What's the natural next step for your vision? What's the natural next step for your goal? The one thing you can do today. Because all you have to do is get a win. Because then that's the truth that you can rest on tomorrow. So when that fear and insecurity comes back in tomorrow, hey, you can't do this. Hey, you're not good enough. You're like, no, I am good enough. I got a win yesterday. I wrote a paragraph yesterday. I had the conversation I needed to have yesterday. I ran half a mile yesterday. I can do this. Right? We talked about before, those lies are always going to come in. Right? It's like I mentioned this before, this idea of flip the switch. Like I can turn off the lights in my kids' room. They're always going to leave it on. Or I'm always walking in like, good grief. Will nobody turn the light off? Well, our brain is the same way. You can flip the switch on to being positive, to being intentional, to believe, to making progress today. You may wake up tomorrow and that switch is flipped off again. And your insecurities and your fears and your worries come back in. Well, then you have to make the choice to flip that switch back on by saying, no, I can do this because I did it yesterday and I did it the day before. So fears, you can come in and bring all the lies that you want, but I've got truth to battle you with that I got a win yesterday, which means I can get a win today. It doesn't have to be a big win, just a win. And so it's not sexy, right? Small wins are not sexy, but they're still wins, right? My 12-year-old, we had a baseball tournament this weekend. And one of the guys who was pitching, I said, look, you don't need to strike this guy out. And you don't need to throw 100 miles an hour. You just need to throw strikes, which is very different than focusing on striking somebody out. Right? Focusing on striking somebody out is too much pressure. I said, just throw strikes. I said, that soft may not be cool to not throw it as hard as you can, but you want to have a chance of getting him out, which means you have to throw strikes. Strikes are sexy. So just throw strikes. And if he hits it, that means you did your job. Now you got to trust your team to do their job. So it's the same thing for us. Like small wins aren't things people talk about. Small wins aren't things that people celebrate or give trophies for. But those small wins lead to the big things that you do get the trophy for. The small wins lead to the big win that becomes the great accomplishment that everybody talks about. And so what does it look like for you today to break down your big goal, to break down your big vision and say, I just need to get a small win today. I just need to build confidence today. I just need to build momentum today. Just show up each day and pursue the small wins, right? If you want to invest in your goals, if you want to reach your goals, it's about investing in your habits. And those habits are just those daily commitments, those daily disciplines that allow you to make a little bit of progress every day until you get where you want to be. Tracy, what do you think about that? Does that make any sense at all? Or did I just confuse you?
Sorry, I'm coming. You did not confuse me. I think it's awesome. It's a great reminder that like just get started, just get started and do something.
Yeah, do something.
A little bit at a time. Yeah, I was actually looking for, it made me think, and this is not in the sports world at all. I'm a gardener. I don't even know if I'm going to be able to show this, but it made me think of this picture right here. This is a crazy analogy, but I love to garden. And a friend of mine 8 years ago gave me one of these flowers right here. And I thought, those are beautiful. I love those. And these are irises. Irises will actually multiply on their own, but they kind of clump up. But I thought, wouldn't it be cool? So what you don't see in this picture, to the left-hand side is our pond. And I thought, wouldn't it be cool if all the way across I could have those beautiful flowers? And so you have to dig them up and spread them out, right? And so every year for 8 years, I've been digging them up and spreading them out little by little. I mean, and I get overwhelmed because it's a lot of work. So I'll maybe do 10 a year. but then they multiply and they keep going down this row. So now I have like 40 feet long of these beautiful flowers. And it just made me think of this when you were talking about that. It's like little by little, small step. And now look what I get. And I'm just going to keep doing this the rest of my life. You'll probably come up my driveway and see like a whole mile long worth of these flowers. But it's a great reminder, just little bits, little small steps.
Yeah. You think, writers talk a lot about writer's block. Like, how do you beat writer's block? You just write.
Mm-hmm.
Right? It doesn't even have to be about your book or your top, just to sit down and write. Like, write about anything. That's how you fight this inaction hits. Well, you fight it by taking action, little actions. And so that's like, I love that picture. It's great. It's like, you had a vision for what that could be. It's going to take a long time. It's all right. We're not in a hurry, right? That's we feel there, and it's a balance, because I think there should be a sense of urgency in terms of like, don't put off tomorrow what needs to be done today, right? Show up with your best today. Don't put things off, but be patient with the results. Be patient with the process and the progress. The old cliche things like, it takes 10 years to become an overnight success. It's like we don't, and not that you need the fame and glory and all that stuff. Like, whatever you're pursuing will take time. If you expect that, you have a much better chance of success, because if you expect it's going to be this month or next year, you're setting it's probably an unrealistic expectation, right? Depending on what the goal is. But if you tell yourself, hey, this is going to take time. I've got to be in this for the long haul. I've got to really commit. And that's okay. I don't need to get frustrated. I know it's going to take time.
Here's a good question coming in. Marcus says, any tips for us procrastinators? How do I motivate myself to get started?
Well, Marcus, I don't know. I've never procrastinated a day in my life.
Okay. You have an accountability partner right here next to you, just to remind you.
Yeah, that's how you do it. You have people who, but true, on some level that's true, right? To have people who will hold you accountable. Mm-hmm. It's hard to run alone. So I do think having people in your life that you've shared the goals with, say, hey, hold me accountable to this. And I think if part of the procrastination is like, we're not afraid of, I think figuring out why you're procrastinating. Are you afraid of failure? Which most people aren't. They're afraid of what people are going to think of them if they fail. But it's figure like, what's actually stopping you from taking action? Is it fear of failure? Is it you don't have enough information? Is it everything's whatever's stopping you is a lie, right? I don't have enough information. You never will. The conditions aren't just right. They never will be. I'm going to be a failure, maybe, but you failed a billion times in your life and you're doing just fine. Whatever these things are, whatever's keeping you from procrastinating is a lie. So I think dealing with that lie, and then again, just taking action. One small thing, one small step. You don't have to jump today. Just take a step today.
That's good. Love it. So these little small steps, there are those people that have so many little small steps, they don't know where to focus first. Any suggestions on that?
Yeah, I think it's so many times like, am I on the right path? I don't know. Because there's probably 50 right paths, right? Like the way you would accomplish a goal, I would accomplish that same goal a very different way. Right. So your path is your path. And so I think you can adjust at any time. I think we believe this lie, like if I commit, then like I can't move. No, there's always room for flexibility, because you can always be reflecting, always just be aware of where you're at. Like, I got a little bit off. I need to go this direction. You can always go that direction, right? You can always change. So don't worry about getting things perfect, right? Perfect is a lie. Perfect is an enemy. Like just pursue progress. Mm-hmm. And so just figuring out, what does progress look like today?
That's great. Love that. Well, all right. As usual, this has been really useful and great tips from Kevin DeShazo, as always. So thanks for spending time with us and, carving out a little bit of your Monday. I hope you feel motivated to go and win the week. Any just additional thoughts before we go, Kevin?
So I've got just whatever it takes to make progress, right? That's the thing. Like fear is a liar. Fear is the enemy. Insecurity is a liar. Just show up. Like you have what it takes. Go take a step today. That's all you have to do. Take a step and then do it again tomorrow and do it again tomorrow. Just keep moving forward.